Now, the Ministry of Home Affairs is expected to notify the rules of the implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Act within the next couple of weeks ahead of the model code of conduct that gets implemented after the Election Commission announces the date of the Lok Sabha elections. This is being spoken about hugely due to the statements that had been made by the Home Minister. Now, he had stated that the CAA is the act of the country which will be notified before the elections. The Citizenship Amendment Act amends the Citizenship Act of 1955 to provide a path to Indian citizens for minorities that are living in the neighboring states, in the neighboring countries of India, which include Hindus, Sikhs, Christians, Buddhists, Jains and Parsis, who had migrated from India to the neighboring countries such as Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan before the cut-off date underlined as 31st of December 2014. I'm going to start my conversation on the telecast with me right now. First, quickly getting in Varun Singh. He's a political analyst, and Varun, quickly a response from you that it's been a few years. 2019 is when this constitutional act had been passed in the parliament. It has taken the government all these years to implement it, to notify it thus far. Why have there been encumbrances in doing so?
You know, it's very evident that it's been 4 years since when the act was passed in the parliament, and now whatever we are hearing and whatever the Home Minister has said and other leaders from the BJP also have said that the rules have been formulated and they will be implemented before the model code of conduct comes in. We all know why things were not going smooth for CAA, and it was because there were many people who were sitting on protest. There were many people who were trying to block it. There was a lot of misconception that was being spread about it. There were many people who were trying to say that it was trying, while minorities from other countries were being welcomed in the country, the minorities of this country will be thrown out. Such kind of narrative and agenda was being propagated. In the last 4 years, via different mediums, if you know, there were many leaders of the BJP, RSS, and many other self-help groups who had organized smaller functions, smaller events where these misconceptions were cleared. And right now, we think that the atmosphere is conducive. And probably that is one of the reasons why the government, it didn't want any form of discomfort for the common public, because the agenda that we saw during the protests that were happening was blocking of roads, people having sit-ins at many other places of importance, which would block people from commuting. I think those all things are also being negotiated, and I think today the atmosphere is very conducive for the implementation, and many people are clear that it is not taking away anyone else's right. But those prosecuted minorities in these 3 Islamic countries from where they have been prosecuted and have come to India, their rights are being protected.
Okay. Akil Khan also on the telecast with me. Akil, quickly a response for you. The premise over here for bringing in the Citizenship Amendment Act is to safeguard the lives and the livelihoods of the minorities who are living in neighboring countries of India, including Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh. Now, people who are being ostracized, who are facing adversities at the hands of the governments, I have to not look any far away. I can just give you an example of what happens in Pakistan. There are Hindu and Sikh girls who are kidnapped, they are forced to marry Muslims, they are converted to Islam without their will. In fact, there have been a number of instances where Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, they all have been persecuted. They all have been attacked. There have been a number of deaths that have been reported. The population of the non-Muslim minorities in all these countries has reduced drastically. So in a situation such as this, why would there be a concern? Why would be a question raised? Why would there be an opposition to the Citizenship Amendment Act being implemented in the country?
Madam, first of all, I would like to say the responsibility of the government of India lies with the citizens of India first. They must take care of the people of this country who have been here for many thousands of years, they are living here. They must first address the problems of our country's citizen. Of course, in Pakistan, there are a lot of atrocities and lot of discriminations against the minority. But there are many minorities, they don't want to live there, leave the Pakistan. But still, if there are so many people, those who want to come to India,
no, in fact,
it's welcome.
The minorities do want to leave Pakistan and Afghanistan and Bangladesh if they get the opportunity. Now, there are no European countries or America that is opening doors for them. Don't you think it is the responsibility of the government of India to safeguard their lives, safeguard their interests and bring them back to India, because they are the ones who are facing these atrocities. They are the ones who are being killed. Their wives and daughters are the ones who are being raped, kidnapped, converted to Islam.
There are problems, no doubt, but in our country, there bigger problems are there. The government of India is not taking care of this.
I don't understand what is the argument over here. There are problems in our country and they are being resolved parallelly. But why is there opposition to Citizenship Amendment Act being implemented?
There is no problem in this is Unified Civil Code. There is no problem because Article 44 of our Constitution says that there must be a consensus, there must be a dialogue between all Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai communities in our country, and the government of India must discuss with them, meet them and make a good confidence between those communities of our country, and then decide with all those suggestions and in the positive direction they must come out. But the government of India, they are politicizing only.
The Uniform Civil Code has still not been passed in the Parliament. Citizenship Amendment Act, in contrast, in 2019 had already been passed in the lower house and in the upper house.
Of course, there are, this is the problem, they are in different countries, but I don't think Bangladesh has any problem. Pakistan has got problem, and Afghanistan is now, I don't find that, because their own citizens are in a very buri condition mein wahan hai. So, forget about those. Pakistan, okay, there are many people, those who want to come to India, welcome. Give them citizenship, what is the problem? But you are making the provisions in CAA which is not conducive to the citizens of our own country.
And
they are putting, you see, BJP has very bad intention. Bad intention, they are bringing with very bad intention.
Fair enough, you are making a point, sir, but can you elaborate, can you justify the statement that you've made?
Certainly,
which are the provisions, which are the rules in the Citizenship Amendment Act to you to then say that which you feel are non-conducive to the citizens of our country?
You see, recently when we have discussed about this CAA issues, there are so many provisions that you will have to prove. Your Aadhaar card will not be valid, your identity will not be valid, you will have to put, you will have to bring your birth certificate. There are many hundreds of lakhs of people in India, you will find they will not have birth certificate. From where they will get, because you will not find the records also. The most important identity is their Aadhaar card. The government has given them Aadhaar card, keeping in view their citizenship, their validity, their in our country that they are living. Why you are emphasizing that you should bring this birth certificate? This is a bad intention of our Home Minister, our government of India. They just want to make this is the election year. They want to create all this kind of problem unnecessarily, just to create a division in our society. They are bringing from outside people, and they in our own country they are dividing, they are persecuting, they are being not given the proper life, economically, socially and politically. They must
made your point. The one point that I would like addressed, that has been made by Akil Khan, is that the lack of birth certificates. What is it that a citizen of the country will have to provide in terms of documentation to prove to the government that yes, he is in fact the citizen of the country? A similar case that had become a row had taken place in Assam. When the NRC had been brought into force, there was a number of protests that had been raised by the people of Assam. And Ashwini, quickly getting a response from you with regards to how this is being panned out in Assam and how this is going to be replicated in the rest of the country, and how do we resolve the problem of the lack of documentation with the people of the country, who are then not going to be called or are going to be deemed as not being the citizens of the country?
Megha, thank you for having me here. So far as the Assam is concerned, Megha, there have been Assam Accord. If you remember, there had been widespread protest in the entire Assam. Thereafter, the government of India, the state of Assam, and the protesters, they agreed for certain timeline and cutoff date, that was 1971. That's implementing the NRC, that lot of illegal immigrants coming from Bangladesh, they have come and settled there. That is what the Industrial Tribunal has been constituted, which is verifying the documents, which is in consonance with the citizenship constitutional provision, which comes under Part 2 of the Indian Constitution, which says either one has born in India, his parents would have born in India, who is residing in the country by virtue of the service to the central government, more than 11 years have been passed, or who have applied in the ordinary course as per the Citizenship Amendment Act, which says the citizenship by registration or naturalization. And so far the CAA is concerned, CAA is a different aspect. If you remember, there are two amendments. One is to 2016, Megha. In 2016, this Citizenship Amendment Bill was passed, which says the eligibility for citizenship for certain illegal migrants, which says the illegal migrants from acquiring Indian citizenship are the foreigners who enter India without a valid passport or travel document. There have in 2019 two additional provisions where the hue and cry is being made were added. One of the additional condition was that those who came to India, though illegally, belong to the Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Jain, Parsis, Christians from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Pakistan, who entered India on or before December 13, 24, will not be treated as illegal immigrants. The sole basis of that they are being persecuted in these countries on the basis of being not followers of the Islam. Now, the third aspect, if you remember, the citizenship is the one which exclusively governed by the Act of Parliament, and the Parliament has exclusive domain over it. Means the Indian Constitution gives single citizenship, and single citizenship, so far as the applying under the neutral process, that has not been taken over. So far as those who have entered in India belonging to the categories which I just mentioned and have come in India before 2014, they would be given the citizenship. But now the protest is on two aspects. One is they are saying that Article 14 of the Constitution says the equality before law, and equality before law says the persons, not the citizens. So persons may be even those who do not belong to these communities which I just narrated, the Hindu, Buddhist, Sikh, Christian, and all who are being called the religiously persecuted minorities.
Fair enough. But you know, the point again that I want to make, Ashwini, is over here. When in 2019 in Assam, when the National Register of Citizens was created, the laws were being implemented. There were a number of citizens of the state of Assam who spoke about how this is not viable. And the point that has been raised by Akhil as well. And there is a connection when it comes to CAA and NRC. So how do we safeguard the citizenship of the people of the country who might not have documentation? And this was particularly with regards to the people who had settled in Assam, who continue to settle in Assam and in West Bengal, who are from Bangladesh but have made India their home in the states of West Bengal and Assam. What is their validity? What is their credibility of the citizen of the country? And where do they go?
Megha, the Supreme Court bench headed by Justice Ranjan Gogoi and Justice Rohinton Fali Nariman set out certain guidelines. Even those do not have any documents, their father might be having document. They might be having in view of any of the document or the conditions which have been prevalent in the Constitution or the NRC guidelines. And that too, there are a foreigners tribunal constituted all over the state of Assam, which is not only examining the documents, even examining that whether how they came to India, what is their status, what is their parents' name, who are their parents, who are their grandparents, whom she got married. These are the various conditions stipulated by the state government itself in lieu of the Supreme Court's guidelines. Those are still, the tribunals are still functioning, and tribunals are identifying the gray area, those who are the resident citizens of the country, do not have the documents, who have come illegally having documents, but their documents are not sufficient enough to prove that they are the Indian citizens. Those tribunals are still working, and the register is being maintained. So the parameters, the documentation, and also the validity and the existence of that person itself, the tribunal constituted is being examined, and the data has to be released by the state government. On the basis of that, the state government itself will decide who are the citizens and who are not the citizens.
Right. Okay. All right. Quickly, also getting in Varun back into the conversation. So Varun, I'm again going to speak about the same point, because when the NRC was implemented in Assam, there was a huge hue and cry. This was with regards to the illegality that the NRC was then going to determine of a number of citizens who have travelled from Bangladesh, from other neighbouring parts of the country, and settled in certain areas, certain states, including particularly Assam and West Bengal. The West Bengal government has long time and again refuted the government of India, demanded to know what was the reason of implementing the NRC, a register of citizens, because there have been citizens who were immigrants coming into India from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, they may be from Afghanistan, but largely from Bangladesh, and they are being termed as illegal immigrants into the country, illegal citizens into the country, and they have been living in India for decades together now. How is the government going to resolve this complicated situation?
Firstly, there are several points that you made. And one of that is, just because someone is living in this country illegally for decades, it is not my job as a taxpayer, and I don't expect my government to spend that money on that illegal immigrant. And that is the reason why CAA and NRC is being done. See, why should my money be paid on feeding someone who very well got a separate country from this country? They, on the basis of religion, have been there. Why should they be fed on my money when they got such huge parcel of land? And that is the reason why CAA and NRC are being made, so that people who are persecuted over there based on religion, they get those rights. And there are certain points that I would like to correct Mr. Akil ji. A very simple thing, कि हाथ कंगन को आरसी क्या, पढ़े लिखे को फारसी.
But then Varun, again, the question
let me just tell you,
are you saying that the minorities who are non-Muslim from all these countries, particularly in Pakistan and Bangladesh, who have been facing persecution, will be allowed to live in our country as citizens of our country? Then are you going to say that the immigrants who have travelled and started to live in India for several decades now, and are there going to be differentiations that are going to be made in terms of religion, on the basis of religion? So are you saying the non-Hindus, non-Sikhs, non-Jains are going to be asked to go back to Bangladesh or go back to Pakistan?
Every illegal immigrant should be sent back to their state. Why we are trying to, and for them, let me tell you, anyone who has entered India illegally, still, or they want to be a citizen of this country, apart from these 6 religious minorities mentioned over here, they have the right of naturalization. They can go via naturalization process.
But do you agree that there is a large percentage of Hindu immigrants from Bangladesh who have settled in India? How do we resolve that issue? Because Hindus are also, the Hindus living in Bangladesh are also minorities.
They are being persecuted over there. You every day see so many stories about temple being desecrated, people being killed in Bangladesh. What do you expect them to do? They will run back to their own brethren.
That's what I'm saying. So are you saying the hundreds and thousands of these immigrants, which also include Hindus coming from Bangladesh and settling in West Bengal and Assam, is the government of India then going to allow them to stay in India, keeping in mind that the Citizenship Amendment Act is implemented, is then put forth, is then implemented on all these cases? And then what happens to the Muslims who have immigrated from Pakistan or particularly from Bangladesh who are living in Assam and West Bengal? What does the government do about them? Does it send them back to Bangladesh?
In my opinion, anyone who has come illegally over here just to fend themselves should be sent. We already have a lot of people. The Hindus are being persecuted over there. The Christians are being persecuted over there. The Sikh, we saw how when Taliban conquered again Afghanistan, they had to come over here, and those people need to be protected, and that is what the government of India is doing. I just wanted to correct one thing, Megha, before you come in. I just wanted to say a certain thing. Since 1989 in this country, it is mandatory for everyone born over here for any form of registration or for any form of, even for passport, you have to produce anyone who's born after 1989, their birth certificate. Before 1989, there are other documents that can be provided for even for issuance of birth certificates. And nowhere in the rules, I'm still saying the rules are to be formulated for CAA. They haven't been formulated. The guidelines, the documents necessary haven't been brought out yet. Exactly, that is what my contention is. On what basis does Mr. Aqil Khan say that Aadhaar card wouldn't be valid for all those people who have been staying here since before 31 December 2014? Aadhaar card or the religion that they mentioned when they came to this country, even those documents are being accepted for CAA. So there is no way that anyone
he's saying if you don't have the Aadhaar card and if you don't have the birth certificate,
there are other documents.
What are the documents that can be used, that can be presented before the government officials to tell them that yes, we are a citizen of this country, and that's where the row erupted in Assam. There were a number of people who were protesting against the National Register of Citizens that was being compiled by the Assam government because they did not have any documentation to prove that they were citizens of the country, and that brought to light the illegal migrants who have been living in India and in Assam. And thereby my question, if you could understand it, the moot point being that amongst the number of these illegal migrants who have travelled into India and mostly from Bangladesh, there is a certain percentage of them that are Hindus, and then there is a certain percentage of them who are Muslims as well. So are you going to allow the Hindus to stay back but send the Muslims home?
Megha, may I answer?
Absolutely. Ashwini will be able to answer it better, but let me tell you a simple thing. Why are the Hindus being allowed to stay in India? Because they are persecuted over there. Are you going to send them back because you want them to die over there, back to Bangladesh? No, we can't. We as a nation cannot. And we shouldn't as a human being also. Why should, and that way brings me to the point.
Is there a way to identify and justify and find out, is there proof, evidence that needs to be provided by a particular individual showing that they have been persecuted, and are there then procedures to then identify and ensure and know for as a certainty that that particular person has been persecuted? Quickly getting it, Ashwini, again, big questions over here. How do you view this situation? Yes, quickly, Varun, 30 seconds, I'll come to Ashwini.
30 seconds, I don't need 30 seconds, I need 10 seconds. It is given that the minorities, especially the Hindus, Christians, Sikhs, are being persecuted over there. That is the reason we are coming up with CAA. You don't need to prove under this act that you are being persecuted. You are coming here.
That's why I'm saying you are again now at this point of time not being able to understand what I'm asking of you. But Ashwini, I'll come back to you again when we talk about the Assam National Register of Citizens. Now those individuals, again giving the example, if there are Hindu immigrants who do not have proof to show that they are citizens of the country, are they still going to be allowed to stay back under the CAA, or do they have to prove that they were persecuted? And if they have to prove that they were persecuted, what is the evidence that they will provide to ensure themselves the citizenship of the country? And the same holds true for the Muslims who are immigrants. Are they then going to be sent back to Bangladesh because they are illegal citizens and they do not have proof, they do not have documentation to prove that they are citizens?
Megha, Government of Assam, Office of State Coordinator and National Register have issued a guideline. Guideline says that one has to be in the list of 1951 NRC. whose name has to be electoral roll up to the 24th March 1971 midnight, land tenancy records, citizenship certificate or permanent resident, any one of them I'm telling you, permanent residential certificate, refugee registration certificate, passport or LIC or any government issued license certificate, government service, employment register, bank, post office accounts, birth certificate, board, university educational certificate, court record processes, and then another criteria, birth certificate or land document or board, university certificate or bank, LIC, post office. This is recent the documentation, electoral roll, ration card, any other legally acceptable document. So,
Fair
Megha, my
enough.
No, sir, no, sir.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I would like to
Akhil,
say,
quickly a
Megha-
response from you.
Megha, sir, there is a very misconception created by the government that even if you have this cards, means your identity card with you, Aadhaar card with you and all other things, even your matriculate certificate where it is mentioned, your date of birth is mentioned, it is also not being taken as valid. They say that you bring birth certificate for all these things. They are creating a fear psychosis among the country's citizens, just politically, creating a sense of fear.
Right now, I do not have any proof, any evidence to then accept your argument over here. You will have to come out and tell me in terms of the proof that you have any cases, any case studies that you have this point of time have encountered, which force you to say these statements. Because without that, how this is just a claim that you're making.
No,
so how do I then take your claim on face value and then believe you on this?
We have been receiving many messages throughout our country that this is the kind of problem people are going to face in future, means when the CA being implemented. So this is a kind of problem.
That's a hypothetical
Liar
statement
is,
you've said.
I really respect
I'm saying
Mr.
this is
Liar.
a hypothetical statement that you're saying that people in the future are going to face this problem. But here you have Ashwini giving you a list of documents, any one of them being provided to the officers to ensure and register yourself once and for all the citizen of the country.
No
and
need of birth certificate.
I am not liar. I am not liar.
Sir,
Listen.
no need of birth certificate.
Law.
Can you please make it clear?
Correct.
No
Correct
need
him.
of birth certificate, means your certificate of matriculation, all this will be sufficient, and all other means
अखिल जी,
your
आप कौन से basis पे बोल रहे हो कि ये सब
post office
जरूरी है?
account and all ration card, all it will be
He's just
admissible.
clarified
There
that.
is no
He's a
problem.
lawyer. He's a Supreme Court lawyer.
Please make it clear. No birth certificate is essential.
Ashwini,
1918.
Ashwini, can you respond to this?
Yes. Megha, this is the list of admissible documents which can be referred by anyone who is coming from the other countries in India, residing in state of Assam.
When?
Megha, even the ration card. But
When?
Megha, very respectfully, Megha, to you, Aadhaar card, even the Supreme Court says that they're not the proof of citizenship. Aadhaar card is only your document which is showing that as of now where you're residing. But the documents like NRC, something you Megha, since 1951 NRC took place, why name was not included? Then 1971 accord, at least somebody is residing would be having bank card, somebody residing having post office document, somebody having ration card, even ration card is admissible. So
Okay.
at least yes, Megha.
Fair
Yes.
enough. Fair enough.
There is
All
no
right,
time
come-
limit. There is no time limit for this.
क्या time limit?
Means after this, after 2014, before 2014, the confusion is being created all over the country. There are so many kind of messages going on.
December 31, 2014 is the deadline for CA. Isn't it clear?
2014. Okay.
Yeah, this is already been cleared. This was a law that had been passed in 1955.
Means this is all BJP,
there has been an
all
amendment that
BJP
has been
creation,
made up
all
until
this BJP's
2014.
creation.
There is a lawyer in the broadcast right now who has given you all the documentations that can be provided, any one of them that will allow for an individual who is wanting to claim citizenship of the country, that can be presented in front of the National Register of Citizens by the officials who are going to officially document the case, and there can be clarity once and for all so that nobody questions their citizenship. And therefore, the moot point over here, the fact that the essentiality of the Citizenship Amendment Act cannot be refuted, it cannot be sidelined. The question over here is about the atrocities that are being meted out to the minorities of our country who are living in Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. There are atrocities that are being meted out to Sikhs, to Hindus, to Christians, to Jains, and they all need to be protected by the government of India. It becomes the moral duty, constitutional duty of the government of India to bring back the Hindus, all the other communities who are being attacked. There are atrocities, they are being persecuted, and once and for all give them safe havens. It had been a difficulty up until now because they were being termed as refugees and could not get the rights like the other citizens of the country get when living in India. So there needs to be this amendment that has now been made. The bill has been passed in 2019. It's high time it is notified and then implemented across the country. I'm out of time. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.